close attention because I'm only going to say this once.
Jackie Reed.
From New
Inside
York.
her story.
Up in Harlem, Jackie Reed goes inside her story. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Tom. Good morning, Sybil. Good morning, Guy. Or should I call you Guy on
It's Friday, yeah.
Guy
on Fridays.
So it's Guy? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, today is the International Day of the Girl. So what better time to focus on what we should be teaching our girls about sex? So how young is too young and how old is too late? My guest this morning is a sexual freedom strategist with over 30 years of experience in transforming sexual trauma into sexual triumph. I'm going inside her story with Nikki Brown, better known as, say it with me, Tom, the Coochie Coach. Good morning, Nikki.
I cannot say that,
Good
Jackie.
morning, Jackie. Good morning, everybody.
Didn't you watch
Good
Blackish?
morning.
I can't say those things. I can't say it.
You can't say it. She's
so
No, I
trademarked
can't
the name.
say it. You
Stay
no.
with me.
How about the Coochie Whisperer?
No,
No, ain't
and
nobody
you can't say it
whispering.
either.
Okay.
So the Coochie Coach. So let's talk about this, Nikki. It seems our girls' introduction to sex is when they're very young and body parts, right? Around what age should we be talking to our girls about their vaginas, and should we call it that or some cute name like Kitty or VJJ?
Well, I think that body image, body positivity for me begins at birth. From the moment that I had my daughter, it was important that I begin to give her language for her body so that there was a positive association with her vagina, with her vajayjay, with her coochie, whatever name we were going to create to talk about it. We needed to talk about it and begin the language really early.
And has that made a difference? How old is your daughter now?
She's on her way to 6.
Okay, and has that made a difference, you think, with her confidence, with her body? Because a lot of girls, and as we grow into women's, are ashamed of our bodies.
Absolutely. I think that she walks around in, in her birthday suit, but without any I need to cover up. I mean, we know that we do this only at home, but at home is where it all begins. And so at home, we talk about her body. We've been identifying her vagina from the time that she was able to touch it herself. And so I think that if we do that really early on in our lives, then we get an opportunity to interrupt some childhood experiences that could otherwise be negative for them.
Okay, so what age should we be talking to our girls about actual intercourse?
Well, I laugh because what I do a lot of times is I'm about interrupting the conversations that we might have had as children now in our 40s and 50s. And so I think it's never too early. But for me, it's probably, I wouldn't wait until they ask. I think the great age is around 10, 11. I mean, I had a boy first, and so I thought it would be different, but I feel like my daughter is probably a lot more aware than my son was at this age.
May I ask a question?
And
Okay,
sure.
Go ahead, Guy.
What if you're a single dad raising a young girl? How does that conversation go? When should he start asking his young daughter or talking about it with his young daughter?
The same age or younger. I mean, I think when men are blessed with the opportunity to raise little girls, consider yourself when you were that age, or consider yourself when you were looking to date or look at a woman or liked a girl. And what would you have wanted to say to that girl now that it's your daughter?
And what do you say to parents who think that, well, if I start talking to them about that, then that will introduce them to that world, and so they're going to start becoming sexually active? What do you say to parents who feel that way?
I'd say come out of the 18th century. This is the 21st century. Technology is teaching our children if we are not willing to teach them. And 9 times out of 10, they will get taught the wrong thing. If we don't want them to be misinformed, if we want them to be guided by the principles and practices that we claim as parents that we are bringing forth, then it is incumbent upon us to provide them with this with this education early. It is not for us to sit and wait around for the one day maybe they won't even ask about it. I always say to my clients, everybody wants to talk about sex. Everybody wants to have sex, but nobody wants to talk about sex. And so you can't have an effective sexual experience if you're not willing to have dialogue and conversations with your children.
And do you come prepared with charts and graphs and books and pictures?
Yeah, how do you have the conversation, Nikki? What do you say?
I come prepared with 47 years of walking around with one. And I say,
Wow.
I mean, like, what better qualifier, right? And I'm saying that in jest, but in real talk, there is an opportunity to consider that as a woman, here I am with the most beautiful, sacred peace all over me, and I would dare to be shamed about discussing it. And so I'm really about eliminating the shame and allowing us to be empowered around it.
Do you
And
think
it doesn't have to be dirty.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But a lot of children are made to feel that way.
Absolutely, because we've made it that way, right? Society has made it that way. Patriarchal mindset has said it's bad to be a woman. You know what I mean? When, like, hello, no one would be here if we didn't come through the portal of a woman.
It depends on the country, too. And the culture.
Okay, let's take the church angle. What does the church have to say about when to teach your daughters
Good question.
about sex?
Ooh. My father was a pastor. I wish he would have spoke to me before I was 17. He probably should have had the conversations with my siblings before they had babies at 14 and 15. I think what we do is that we hide behind that too, right? We hide behind religion. We hide behind dogma related and associated with religion versus being honest about it. No one, I mean, unless you're the baby Jesus, is getting here but through any other way but by sex.
Well, shout out to the baby Jesus. But you know, there's this great storyline on This Is Us where the young actor who was also on When They See Us is in high school. He's a young man, young teenager, and he has a child, and he's raising that child with his parents. They're very accepting and supportive of the fact that he has this baby. So for parents out there whose young teens are pregnant or have had children, what advice would you give for them? Because it can be a tough situation for parents.
Absolutely. One, I say get your head out of the sand. But secondly, I say...
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, doggone it. Did we drop her?
Yeah, she dropped, yeah.
Can we call her back?
Andrell?
I know it.
Andrell is efforting.
That was
Okay.
baby Jesus did that. Yeah, that was God.
Thought he would appreciate the shout out.
He would appreciate this, but if you all haven't seen this, please watch this season of This Is Us. They have a storyline. Omar Epps is the father, and anyway, they're dealing with a son who has a young daughter, and he's in high school. And it's the first time, really, I've seen this on television where the parents are very positive and supportive of this young boy, being a father, and they're helping to raise this child. And
Nikki
teaching
Brown,
him
we have you really
responsibility.
quickly. Can you give us a quick answer to Jackie's question?
Yes, I mean, I'm saying talk to your children. Don't be afraid. Give them some love and respect, and remember to have some compassion for them.
Yeah, and you can find out all about Nikki on @thecoochiecoach.com.
I'm
That
not
is her
saying
website.
that.
It's .com, right, Nikki?
It's .com, Tom.
And all over social media
I'm
at
not
the
saying
Coochie
any of that.
Coach.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
Nikki.
hashtag on me. I'm at the end of my career. You ain't gonna mess it up.
Come on.